Welcome to chapter 7. I'm sorry, I went a little fast. It's thinking and intelligence. I found this chapter a little wordy, and so my slides are going to be wordy. Sorry. But let's get into it. Cognition. What is cognition? Describe it. Cognition is thinking. It encompasses the processes associated with perception, knowledge, problem solving, judgment, language, and memory. Concepts and prototypes. Concepts, that's like the big picture. It categories or groups of linguistic information, images, ideas, or memories such as life experiences. Prototypes are how we represent a concept. It's our representation of the big picture. Now, my example is a concept is the civil rights movement. What I associate the civil rights movement with is Martin Luther King or Rosa Parks. They represent the civil rights movement for me. Natural and artificial concepts. Natural concept is if you grew up in Montana, you know what snow is. You more than likely know how to drive in it and all that good stuff. I was raised in the South, and if we get snow, we're hunkering down. Like, we know what it is, but if I was like from the desert, I wouldn't know. So natural is things that are natural in your environment, such as snow in the mountains. Artificial are concepts that are taught to you that you can build upon. You have to know what a square is to eventually learn how to find its area. So an art, like a square is not a natural concept. Next, language. This is the wordy one, and I'm really sorry that my picture is over where it says language and thinking. There's nowhere I can move it. But I will tell you what it says. But let's start out with language and its components. Language is the use of words to transmit information to someone. The components are lexicon as language vocabulary, and grammar as the set of rules to convey the meaning. That's your language development chart. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory there. Language and thinking. In the 1940s, Sapir and Worf proposed that language determines thoughts. Example, if a language doesn't have any words that convey past tense, then the community people would be challenged to think in past tense. Well, since then that's been thought to be too absolute, and researchers are still researching. So that's language and thinking. Problem solving, strategies. How will we solve a problem? This one was fun to me. Anyways, trial and error. Trial and error is we tried what worked before, and if it doesn't work, we try something else, and we just keep trying until we find a solution. Algorithm is step-by-step instructions, and that last one is the framework of problem solving. Algorithm and heuristic. I'm sorry. Algorithm is an instruction manual. My husband is very big into, like, when he gets a new car, he reads the owner's manual, so he knows how to fix any problem that will arise. Whereas his best friend is the opposite, or he does the other one. He breaks down each task to solve it, or he'll work backwards. And I'm more trial and error. Roadblocks for problem solving. I will attempt to move my picture so it's not in the middle, but it's still going to be in the middle somewhere. So sorry, I'll just move it over there. Anyways, roadblocks for problem solving. It's pretty self-explanatory. Mental set, it worked before, but it's not working this time, and you just can't get out of that mindset that it has to work. Functional fixedness. You can't use a tool that wasn't meant to be used that way. Like, you can't use a knife to unscrew something when you really can. Anchored bias. You hyper-focus only on one thing, and so you can't solve the whole problem because you're hyper-focused on one situation. Confirmed bias. Info that confirms your beliefs. Like, you want to fix the economy, but you can't because X, Y, and Z is part of your belief system, so it's never going to get fixed. Hindsight bias, events were predictable. I knew that was going to happen. I just knew it. It was going to happen. Told y'all it was going to happen. You really didn't know it was going to happen. Representative bias, unintentional stereotypes. I'm going to leave that there. Availability bias, a use of experience but not helpful to current problem. Like, my uncle was a plumber for 12 years. He probably could fix the electricity too. No, probably not. I don't care if it's all just in the bathroom. Next, what are intelligence and creativity? Intelligence. Crystallized intelligence is characterized as acquired knowledge and the ability to retrieve it. Fluid intelligence encompasses the ability to see complex relationships and solve problems. I think that's pretty self-explaining. Triartic theory by Sternberg. Analytical intelligence. Academic problem solving and computation. Intelligence, those are the two types of intelligence. And then this theory is that there are three different types of intelligence, and they kind of work together. Analytical intelligence, academic problem solving. Practical intelligence, street smarts, common sense. Creative intelligence, imaginative and innovative problem solving. I agree with this theory personally, because I know lots of people that don't have any common sense, but you put a math problem in front of them and they're ridiculous. They can solve it just like that. Intelligence theories we'll get to at the next slide. Emotional intelligence. Gardner's inner and intrapersonal intelligences are often combined into a single type, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence really is the ability to understand your emotions and the emotions of others. So empathy and emotional regulation, like being able to regulate your emotions and understanding why somebody else feels the way they do. Let's look at intelligence theories. There are a lot. And there's nowhere I can move my picture that's not going to cover this, but your slides are in the module. So this gives intelligence type, linguistics, logical, music, body kinesthetic, spatial, interpersonal, intrapersonal, naturalistic intelligence. And then it gives you job prospects, like what you could do with that. I think that's kind of cool. Anyways, next, measures of intelligence. So intelligence tests, I understand why they are needed. I understand the purposes and the benefits. Some history about it. It started in the 1800s, the late 1800s. Sir Francis Galton came up with the first test for intelligence. He wasn't a psychologist. He wasn't a psychiatrist, nothing like that. Early in the 1900s, the French government asked Alfred Binet to develop a test to determine if children will have difficulty in school, because that's predictable. America caught on. Louis Terman, he was from Stanford, University, tested thousands of children to develop a baseline score. The test was deemed standardized, which results were consistent. And norming, that means he tested enough students. And so that's what they started using. Now a new version, it's called the Stanford Binet Intelligence Scale, is still used today. IQ test. David Wechsler was a psychologist. He developed IQ tests in the U.S. In 1939. It is now called the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Test, the WAIS. It's been revised several times, and now he has 3 tests credited to him. The adult test, which is on its 4th edition. The scale for children, it looks like it's on its 5th edition. And the Wechsler Preschool and Primary Scale of Intelligence also on its fourth edition. So purposes and benefits. Purpose, it helps determine if someone understands what's happening or if they need more specified help. I get that. I get it. I teach special education. Like, we need to know if a child does not understand. Benefits. It does help children get additional educational supports. It also helps adults that might have slipped through the cracks in school get extra benefits as an adult, such as if they're on trial for a crime and they don't understand the charges being brought against them. There are now supports in place to help them. Next, the source of intelligence. Genetics and environment science backs both. Genetics and environment affect intelligence levels. IQ and socioeconomics. Children who live in poverty experience more pervasive daily stress than children who do not worry about the basic needs of shelter, safety, and food. These worries negatively affect their brain functions. That's straight from the book. But basically, like, if you're worried about when you're going to eat, you're not worried about math homework. That's really it. Learning disabilities and developmental disorder. Learning disabilities considered scientific neurological impairments rather than global intellectual or developmental disabilities. 2 examples, dysgraphia or dyslexia. Developmental disorders, a group of conditions due to an impairment in physical, learning, language, or behavior areas. This would be Down syndrome, autism, cerebral palsy, things like that. There's an issue with how you develop. Down syndrome is an extra chromosome. Autism is a processing disorder. And cerebral palsy is muscle weakness. And it comes from a generalized area of your brain. I believe that's all for chapter 7. This was very wordy, and I apologize. Check the slides if you have any questions. And thank you so much.